My name's Dee Hodgson. I am a team leader with the peer support team. I have to say it's quite varied. It's impacted quite a lot of my life from a young child where I craved adult company because I struggled within my peer ranges with lack of confidence, lack of self-belief. Back then, nobody put a label on it. It was never, determined as mental health. Through my teenage years, it was really difficult. Around the age of just before my 15th birthday, I tried to take my own life. And that really set the scene for a lot of years of struggles. I spent a lot of my time, I suppose, exploring risky behaviour patterns, sort of alcohol and sort of sleeping around in not good relationships because I had no self-worth, no belief in who I was as a person, and went on to have 4 of the most amazing human beings, otherwise known as my children, and we struggled together. And they very much had to bring themselves up because life became a cycle of hospital admissions, medication, to the point where I couldn't function. And my mental health, it deteriorated on several occasions, and it was all based on trauma from my childhood. About 18, 19 years ago, we relocated, and I had a different consultant. He started discussing words like recovery and normalising, and it was a whole new world for me. And I had a brief time where my mental health really improved, and a lot of the medication got reduced. There was some stuff going on that sort of triggered that trauma damage to come back to the surface, and I was self-harming really badly and was taken into hospital for quite a period of time. And when I came out of hospital, I was given this small card about services of Coventry and Warwickshire Mind. And eventually I plucked up the courage. Very quickly, the community that was there became a really safe space for me to begin to find some confidence. And I ended up getting involved in what is now Expert by Experience. And I was asked to do more and more things, and I learnt so much about myself, but also about the wider world of mental health. And I became quite passionate. And this dependency that had developed on services because of my poor mental health sort of flipped on its head because of the level of support that I had. I suppose the byproduct of so many years of being on heavy medication and not being able to be active and what have you, I was vastly overweight. The weight was hiding the level of the trauma that I'd experienced. It became this barrier. I began to hear about services and solutions. And the one day when I picked the phone up and I opened the door on what had happened to me, and as the trauma came out, and that almost gave room to explore this person that was hidden, I got to the point where I had the courage to begin to deal with my weight and the physical issues around my weight, because I couldn't walk very far. I had lots of medication still. As the weight almost fell away, I mean, obviously there was work involved, but as this other person sort of came out, and she gained this confidence. People often say, why weightlifting? I met a trainer after I joined a small independent gym. He inspired me to try something new. I'm quite a goal-centered person anyway. So as each week went by, I got more and more excited as the weights got heavier. And that linked into that sense of achievement for me. Because previously, anything to do with sport, fitness, etc. was ridiculed. I experienced bullying. So to actually find something that I was able to achieve in was a little bit like dropping ink into water. And as it spread through me as a person. It gave me something, strength, inspiration to just push myself in other areas a little bit more. And as I achieved, I began to feel good. And as I began to feel good, I started to like who I was. And as I learned to like and find out who Dee was, I learned to love her, and that's where the confidence came. The one day, he said, we need a goal. And that was really how the idea of, kind of like the competition came about. And I look at me now, and it sounds strange, but I inspire myself to inspire others. I began working for Mind, not just voluntary. All of a sudden, they wanted to pay me. And that was revolutionary for my self-esteem, the fact that somebody valued my experience to that point. I still was having tough days, but they were becoming manageable. I have experienced stigma in the workplace. It's a tough road, and it it breeds almost a culture of fear. My experience has been where I've been ridiculed because of my anxiety, or because there's been tasks that in the past I couldn't have done because of my anxiety. And I was seen as almost lazy, but I know that that's not me. It adversely affected me and my confidence and my self-esteem, to the point where I didn't want to go into work anymore. When we're supported in the workplace, it doesn't just benefit us, it benefits our employer. When we're supported, we want to go into work, we want to, do what we love doing, and we don't want to be in an environment that isn't a nice place to be. Situations where I experienced the stigma, there were a few things looking back that would have made a difference. One was for me to have felt supported by the management. And if I had been supported because I was vocal about where things were at, other people that were experiencing what I was experiencing would have had the courage to have vocalised it, which would have brought strength. I think having information available also, so that it didn't feel like a taboo subject, would have been really beneficial. And I think also creating a culture where it's okay to talk, whether that's through training or just acceptance, would have really benefited and does benefit. I think managers can take steps in reducing stigma by creating a culture of acceptance, not preventing conversation, letting the workforce know that it's okay to have a struggle, maybe having an open door policy, maybe having champions who have had some training, having information available, and having breathing space during the working day where, even if it's a specific environment, room, whatever, where you can just go and actually I'm not okay right now. Mental health support framework within our workplace, I think it's the foundations to good practice, in my opinion. Mental health, it's on the increase. Life is full of pressures, whether that's at home or at work. And when it becomes acceptable to talk about our mental health, then, in my opinion, that's when we can begin to give people the courage to reach out for support and begin to unpick some of what they're going through. And it brings strength and resilience and confidence. Don't be afraid to stretch out your hand. There is usually somebody there who will grasp it, support you. The landscape of tomorrow is different to the one that you're looking at today.